Welcome to your EHCtv feature interview. My guest today is Spencer King. Spencer is a senior here at Emory and Henry, a member of C5C, the Black fraternity on campus. Spencer, thanks for joining us today.
Man, pleasure.
As most of us know, it's Black History Month, February, and a lot of things going on here, a lot of things to talk about. But first off, Black History Month started off in 1976 officially in the United States, and since then we've had a lot of controversy over what Black History Month should be used for. And Spencer, what's your view on that?
Basically, I feel like Black History Month should be used as sort of like a knowledge base. Just getting to understand the culture, because you never really know a culture without getting to know what it's actually about, just learning. That's basically what it is to me. It's just the complexity of a culture is so vast that you just have to learn about it if you want to actually know about it.
Right, and here in Southwest Virginia, obviously, we, as a general citizenry, don't know a whole lot about African American culture, seeing as we don't have that large of a Black population base. What is it that folks around here need to know about African American culture?
I just feel like if you have any knowledge of African American culture, or any culture for that instance, that the stereotypes and the negative connotations that you hear that are associated with a culture, they'll smoothly and sort of like almost erase itself once you know about it.
Yeah. Now, I know in school we talked a lot about the civil rights movement, and I remember a whole lot of that from my middle school and high school history classes. And mainly you think of that with Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and some of those guys from the 50s and 60s and 70s. Why is this still a hot topic issue today?
I feel like it's like that with an African American culture, but it's also like that with any culture. It's just the lack of knowledge that people have about other cultures than the one that you're in. And I feel like this, as well as things for other cultures, should be implemented, because you really don't know until you learn.
Mm-hmm. So what can our campus do? What can Emory and Henry do to enhance Black History Month here?
I feel like Emory's already made vast strides, because being a freshman, we didn't get Martin Luther King Jr. Day off. We just now started getting that off. I think I may have been a sophomore or even a junior now,
right,
since we started getting that off. And I feel like the keynote speakers that we get, the breakout sessions and the things that we're doing, it shows the diversity and the things that Emory's trying to strive to do. And I feel like it's a major step forward in the right direction for Emory as well as our culture here.
Right. And for those viewers who are unaware, Emory and Henry hosts a special day on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Students have the day off from classes, and they really get to sit down and workshop kind of where we are now with race relations. Did you go to those sessions?
Yeah, actually, I went to all of them.
Okay, what did you take out of some of those sessions?
I really liked it for the simple fact that it gave people that don't interact with African Americans on a day-to-day basis, or haven't interacted with African Americans that much at all. It just gave them a sense of mind as to what the African American culture is all about and what it stands for and what it believes. And I feel like that the more that you learn about any culture, or the more that you learn about anything, and you get that sense of knowing, you can only grow and strive and advance from it.
Specifically, was there a speaker or a discussion that stood out to you?
The keynote speaker, Muhammad Bilal, he actually stuck with me a lot, because I actually got a chance to talk to him after his breakout session at 2:30. That was in Wiley, and we sort of talked about the stereotypes, and I was like, man, how do you really figure that they're gonna go away? And the one thing that he told me was like, man, he said it's simple, but people never really thought about it. And he was like, that's knowledge. He was like, of course you're going to have your assumptions from where you're brought up, where you're raised, about different ethnic backgrounds, different cultures and things of that nature. But he said, the more that you learn and the more that you see how you can relate those cultures into your own and see the similarities in it, that's how you learn. And he said, that's how you grow when you advance.
Okay. Also on Martin Luther King Day, a little bit more on the dramatic side,
Yeah.
we had a student who posted something on Twitter that said, and I believe I'm quoting here, it said Happy Nigger Day. And that's something that obviously is offensive towards African Americans and towards me as an American citizen, because I feel like we're past that point. What were your thoughts on that, and kind of where can we go on this discussion?
Yeah, it was sad, but I go right back to that lack of knowledge. Like these things are brought up for the simple fact of where you're raised, where you come from, the things you interact with on a day-to-day basis. But I feel like the African American culture here, we need to learn from this because we can also see what we're doing wrong and what we can do to better ourselves as well as better the individual that had the reason to put those things on a social network that she did. But I feel like that, I mean, in order to change the situation, we have to change ourselves. And all we can do is better ourselves by bettering the opportunity that we have to reach out a helping hand to a person who obviously has some other differences than what we have of ourselves.
Right. Now you speaking for the black community on campus, what can y'all do to kind of reach out to this, not just this person, but anybody who might carry some biases and really help to remedy the situation?
Well, personally, what I'm doing is I'm mentoring the younger people and the people that I feel like I have under my wing that I look up to, because personally I don't even use that word because it's such an ugly word, first of all, but never with the word have I ever put with it a color, a race, a person, or anything of that nature. But I feel like in order for us to want to change and people to not use it, we as a culture of African Americans have to stop as well.
How do you feel when African Americans use the N-word?
It's sort of almost like degrading to see what our past pioneers did, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and all of them, to see how they fought so hard on a day-to-day basis, called that name, spit on, dogs, hoses, and for us to just go back to it like it's a social norm, it's actually sort of sad.
Do you call people on it when you see it, when you hear them use that word?
Like, I look at them and I tell them like, hey, watch your mouth and things of that nature, but I feel like that it's more that I feel like I can do, and it's more that I will do.
Now, what kind of merit do you give to musicians, high-profile musicians, who might use that in their lyrics? Like, is that something that you condone, or?
It's used all the time. I mean, and the rappers that I listen to, they use it, but I hear it, but I pay it no mind. That's how I feel like that's how you grow, really. Like, I'll listen to it. I might be rapping the lyrics, but I'll stop at that certain point when I know that word is coming.
So what can we do? What can white folks like myself, or people who are in other cultural groups, do to help remedy this? Obviously, you think it's a problem within the African American community, but how can we help do that? I mean, obviously, not using the word as a start, but what else?
Just interact with African Americans. That's the best way. That's the most fun way. Like Muhammad Bilal said, he said, put yourself in a predicament where you don't feel comfortable, and that's where you'll learn and gain the most knowledge from. And I truly take that to heart, because I feel like that personal interactions are what you learn from the best.
So do you think, is this an inspiration for you as a member of CFI, or I know the Men of Color Alliance, MOCA, is started back up this year on campus. Is this motivation for those groups to try to put something on campus to try to start that dialogue more?
I feel like it is, because as you can see now, it's still prevalent today. And I feel like I can't stress it enough, just getting the knowledge and gaining more about that culture can start to erase those stereotypes. And when you can influence one, that can influence another, that can influence another, it makes a big change and a big difference in the end.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Spencer, and
No
thank
problem.
you for all that
Thanks
you
for having
do with the community on campus and trying to start this dialogue and talk to us. So now we're going to throw it to an out and about.